come in a package that you check out from me. It has a burr tool in it, and it has all of the restorative instruments that you need. The other instruments are your instruments, so your Mouthmere Explorer, cotton pliers, plastic instrument, spatula, which there wasn't a spatula in here, remind me to get one. So you're going to set all of that up, and you will have it, the amalgam kit or the instruments has one Topfenmeyer in it, and you have another one, and we're going to do 2 amalgams, and they'll both be interproximal. And so we want 2 Topfenmeyers set up so that we don't need to disassemble it and then reassemble it for the next tooth. It just takes too much time, especially when it takes you 10 minutes to figure out how to set it up to begin with. So, and you have your own matrix band. So this is something that can be set up ahead of time. The only problem is you can only set it up straight out, because you don't have a chart yet to know where we're working, if we're working on the right or the left side. We're only going to work on the mandibular, because we're going to work on your stone models that you did sealants on, and it's too hard to hold the maxillary model in his mouth and prep it at the same time and do all that. So we just, after we do the rubber dam, we'll set your mandibular stone model on top of his teeth, and we'll actually prep the model and do fillings and all of that. So 2 Topfenmeyers, and once you get the chart, you can just make them go left or right, but they should be set up ahead of time. And then the other things that are on my tray in your 10 minutes, when you are ready to start putting, you can have your HVE or water syringe barriers on also. That's not part of your 10-minute setup time. So all of this can be done. Chair cover, light handle covers, all of that is can be done ahead of time. Because whoever turned the operatory over would have done that for you. So. When you are ready for us to start your 10-minute setup time, come and let us know, and we will give you a chart, just like we're doing for anesthetic. And so we're working on David Beckham today. So again, in our office, not in the operatory, you would say, okay, so we're working on David Beckham, and we are working on mesiofacial at 27 and occlusals on 29 and 30. And his health history, he has high blood pressure that's uncontrolled. And a heart murmur that he needs to be premedicated for. What anesthetic would you like to use? And I would say to you, I would like to use plain without any epinephrine in it, since he has uncontrolled high blood pressure. So then, that's as soon as you leave our office, that's when your 10-minute startup time starts. So then you'd go back, get your tray, get your patient, get your hand pieces, and we'll tell you, now that we know what teeth we're working on, we'll tell you what burrs we want. So today I wanted a 557 and a 6. Miss L will tell you I want a 557 in the high speed and a 6 in the low speed. I just tell you numbers. We don't have 557 low speed burrs. They just don't. They make them, but we don't own them, and they're very rarely used. So you need to know which one goes in which handpiece. Okay? So we'll tell you what anesthetic, and we'll also tell you what burrs. Now your 10 minutes starts. Go get your tray, get your patient, put them all in here, set your burrs up, and you can have a notepad and write down 557 and 6 and what anesthetic, because you're nervous and may not remember. And then start getting your things, and then the rest of the stuff comes out of the brown tubs or in the white tubs in the operatory. So in addition to my instruments on my tray, I have my anesthetic, and I put a long needle on because we're working on mandibular. My plain anesthetic now. Make sure my label is facing it. And let me get it back up, 1, 2. And you can get things out of here originally while you're setting up. If they're not sterile, as long as your hands are clean, you can get stuff out of there. If it was something that was sterile in there, you would have to have gloves on, but it's not sterile, so clean hands are fine. So I have anesthetic, I have a needle, I have a needle guard. I have our composite shade guide, because we're going to need to know what color we need for the mesiofacial on 27. I have a very small stack of 2x2s. Students will literally stick out 1/3 of a package of 2x2s. We can't use them. We can't put them back if we don't use them. So, I think I have 4 here. Plenty, okay? And Della, will you grab me an alcohol dispenser? I thought there was one in here. I always put one of my 2x2s on top of the alcohol dispenser so it's ready when I need it. I have 1 cotton roll, and we're going to take the articulating paper marks off. Thank you so much. After we check the bite, we want to remove the blue marks on their teeth, so that's why I have 1 cotton roll. I have articulating paper. These are micro brushes. They're little tiny, they're almost like they have a cotton pellet on the end, but they're applicators. And they come straight and in different colors. I don't really care if you have a different color for all three things that we need it for. You need 3 of these. I throw them away immediately after I use them, so I don't get confused by color. So, a micro brush. And they come straight, but that is really difficult to use on number 31 or number 2. So they bend really easily. So both of our preferences is that you hand it to us bent, not straight. So bend your micro brushes. So I've got 2 up there on my composite tray and 1 down here for my amalgam for right now. I have floss for my dam. Over here I have amalgam well, and I have 2 things of amalgam, and if I need more I can get it. 2 more micro brushes up here, so I have 3 total. This guy is called a finishing strip, and it has sandpaper, different coarsenesses on either end. And this is for after we do the composite. Since we can't carve composite, right, as hard as it's ever going to be, it's not like amalgam, we need to smooth the interproximal surface of the composite with a finishing strip. It's just plastic, it doesn't hurt. So they make thicker ones, these are thin ones. They make some that are on metal that have really, really thick, almost diamond sandpaper on it. They're called lightning strips, and that's if you had a really big overhang and you really had to take composite down. I have a clear matrix strip, and I always put this somewhere where I can find it because it's hard to see, it's clear. And remember that these come twice this long, and you need to cut these in half because a doctor does not need a 3-inch piece of plastic. They need about 1.5 inches in between there. It would be just way too much if it was a full strip of that. So I always put it on my 2x2. These are sandpaper discs, and they come in, one side is colored, the other side is the sandpaper. They come in black, dark blue, medium blue, light blue, and you need 1 of each of them. Black is the coarsest, light blue is the finest, so you need 1 of each of them, and we'll go from black to light blue. And I just set those out on my 2x2 with my clear matrix strip. I would keep the box of them, when you're in an office, I would keep the box of them near you somewhere, because the doctor I worked for would use like 4 of the extra fine ones just to make sure they got a really smooth finish. So I don't just put 1 out assuming that that's going to be enough. Always keep this near. And these little guys, these finishing discs or sandpaper discs come in 2 different sizes, these little guys. And we're working on mandibular anterior teeth, so they're little because mandibular anterior teeth are little. And then they come in this larger size for maxillary. So big teeth, big disc, small teeth, small disc. But they should be organized like that, so they're all separate. The little ones are kind of a menagerie because students put them back wherever they want to. And if you guys are just hovering over the tooth and not really doing a restoration, we can put all of those discs back in after you've pretended to use them. If you really do use them, they get a little bit flexible, and so just toss them. But if you're just pretending and not actually doing fillings, just put them back in the box when you're finished because they're very expensive. So they're about 10 to 15 cents a piece, so that adds up very quickly.
Well, Mrs. Wirth, if you were doing a custard, would you use the larger or the smaller?
I'm using the small ones still,
okay.
Yeah. These are the primer and adhesive for composite. So the light green comes first, the Kelly green comes second, we go light to dark. You need 1 of each. Students will have 2 bottles of one kind out here, and they're 2 completely different things. One is sticky, like corn syrup. In fact, these are $189 a bottle the last time I bought them. And so this one is like water, so if you turn it upside down and squeeze it, the primer, you're going to get about 10 drops out when you needed 1, and the doctor's not going to be happy. You used about $18 worth of primer. So be very, very careful. If you just tip it over, some will come out usually. If it doesn't, squeeze very gently because you can't get it back inside the bottle. This guy is like corn syrup, and so one of the doctors that worked for us pretty regularly was extremely frugal and still is. He would take the micro brush and just run it around the top of it because there's some adhesive on the rim of it because it's really sticky, and that's what he would use So use that first, and then if you need to, put some out. I did take them home and put water and literally corn syrup in the 2 bottles, so I hope that we're not using the actual material. So it may be really, really sticky. This is a Dappen dish, and it's the one that has the orange cover on it. So you can, ahead of time, the primer is not light sensitive. We're not going to light cure that, but the adhesive is. So I can put that out if I wasn't going to run my thing around the neck of the bottle. And now I can cover, as long as I cover it up, it's not going to start setting up because of the overhead light. That's what the orange little shield does for it, so you can have that ready to go. I have etchant, and make sure that you guys are changing the tip on it before you use it, because some of you are finding that this gets so hard inside here you can't get, even though there's some left in here, you can't get it out. So always change the tip on your etchant before you use it. And I even usually express some like on the corner of the tray just to make sure it's going to come out when I need it to, and not